revelation to me.
Yeah, totally. One time I was in the back of the building, like the cafeteria was in the back, and I was like, smoking up. Oh shit, should I have said that? Is that cool?
It's all right.
Okay. I was back there, man, and I was like, I was a little bit feeling all right. You know what I'm saying? I was just totally feeling the whole thing, man. I was just so like overwhelmed, and I was just sitting there by myself, just totally taking it all in, and like lo and behold, like out, the corner of the parking lot, man, was a little dude. It was like he was dressed in green. He had like, I don't know, he was wearing like leather tank top, and it was like he had like these little boots, man, and he had like a bag of gold with him, and he wanted to share. He totally wanted to share with me. It was so awesome.
I thought it was funny, like the part where they burn things and they talk about Donnell just burnt the cornbread again. Well, they really didn't burn cornbread. It was kind of like a special effect. They lit some paper on fire and they made a bunch of smoke, and then some people stood back and blew it into the cafeteria, but it really wasn't cornbread on fire. So, even though it looks like that's what it really is in the movie, no, it was kind of like a special effect.
No, nothing funny. I was a little shocked at some of the people who seemed to be extras hanging on to the film. They seemed to be sort of rock and roll sort of people. A bit smelly, I would say, irritating. Long stringy hair, seemed to really have no sort of job, no life or anything like that. And I found them to be generally rather unpleasant.
Do you remember anything funny or unusual that happened during the filming of the movie?
No, it wasn't a funny movie.
No, I know the movie itself wasn't funny, but maybe something while we were filming the movie that was funny?
Well, I remember that there was lots of people and there was food, and that was sort of funny.
I suppose one could say it's rather unexpected that you're even interviewing me about this. I'm so sorry, what's the name of it again?
Tater Tomater.
Tater Tomater. I'm surprised is he living, Phil?
Yes, he has gone on to do some additional work after this film.
Film work?
Yes, some, and some commercials, one with Michael Jordan.
I'm sorry?
The basketball player, Michael Jordan.
I'm sorry. No, I'd say that's what's unexpected, the life it has led, and I'd like to think that Mr. Bowen is a small part of it.
It's curious because for the first time ever in my life I have diarrhea. Never before have I had it, and never afterwards did I have it. I think it was because we were eating this food from this place. I think that's why.
Well, how did you handle that during the filming?
Discipline. Just discipline,
I wondered if the people, when they were making Tater Tomater, if they knew that it was going to be such an incredibly popular film, if it was going to have such a long life. So I asked them, did you know or have any inkling at the time you were filming that it would be such a popular and long-lived film?
Is it?
There's a whole fan base out there. You wouldn't believe how many people love this film.
No, I had no awareness of this. How fascinating. Yes, this is, fascinating.
So it came as a surprise to you?
It does, yes, no. It's surprising. This makes me feel very insecure suddenly. I'm feeling almost like I'm going to have a panic attack, I think. Franz! But I will save it for later on tonight, I think so.
Oh, God, no. Are you kidding? I thought it was dreadful. I thought it was going to be... I thought they were going to stop filming in the middle of it. I couldn't believe that a reputable university like... where was it that the person was going?
I believe that was NYU.
Right, New York University. I couldn't believe that they were actually giving the camera to this person to do this ridiculous sort of little Abner film. I mean, I couldn't believe it. So, I mean, no, I was quite surprised that people still like it. I suppose that, you know, there are cult films that people sort of latch on to because of their lives lack something, some sort of, you know, pathetic sort of longing for something. I don't know. I have no idea. But no, I had no idea it would be received as it was.
You know, no. I had absolutely no idea it was going to be such an amazing success. I mean, when you're involved in a project like that, I mean, I'm talking like I'm actually been involved in more than one, but you don't really have a sense at that moment when you're in the middle of all the filming and people are running around and things are taking forever and the lighting's not working and sound is messed up. I mean, you just don't really think about the future, really. You're thinking about right there, in that moment, in that time, and you really have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, really, I've heard people say that movies are more a director's medium because really you can act and do all kinds of things, but it all depends on what that director cuts and puts in the movie. I mean, I could have ended up not being in the movie at all. I mean, I wouldn't have really been surprised if that had happened. It's not like I was a great actress or anything. And so really, when it did become some kind of a success, really no one was more surprised than me. I mean, I can really honestly say that. I was probably the most surprised of all and the least prepared to handle it. Now, while you were filming it, did you think it would go on to be such a cult phenomenon?
No, but I didn't know there would be Jump Little Children. So if you can't know that, then if you can't know that there was going to be a, you know, if you know, it'd be like if you had a Backstreet Boy in your movie before there were boy bands, right? So, so no, I had no idea.
It was popular?
Did you know?
No, I'm f***ing with you. Ah! No, it was, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I'm really psyched about a DVD. You know, it's, you know, I've done some stuff, kind of like some summer stock. You know, like Hoboken. I don't know, somewhere. You know, I've been doing like stuff. I'm like trying to branch out and do the thing, and I'm really psyched. You know, I'm hoping, you know, maybe Angus, Beth want to get back together and, you know, maybe do it again sometime. You know, I'd love to get back to Jimmy. I love Jimmy. It was a really exciting time in all our lives.
You know, I wasn't a part of Apocalypse Now or you know, Chattanooga or any of those other, you know, big movies, but this one I just felt like I was really like part of the whole thing, man. It was awesome.
I wondered what effect it had on people's careers. I mean, did it have a positive effect or a negative effect? I mean, what happened to them after they did Tater Tomater?
Well, it nearly killed my career, to be honest with you. Afterwards, I only was offered cafeteria managers. Of course, I was offered the Porky's films. I was then offered a cameo in the Breakfast Club, and I have a rule of thumb: I am never in any film starring Emilio Estevez, so I said no to that. I was also offered something in The Return of Alice. I believe I was to play Flo's beau, who was operating the local K&W, and I said no. So I just was offered so many of these cafeteria managers, I almost gave up acting entirely, and I was going to go into kickboxing. And I decided against that, but I went back to the theatre. So it nearly killed my career, and I have nothing but bad things to think about it.
This film ruined my life. It ruined my life.
How so?
Well, I'm an actor. I'm a legitimate actor. I am trained. I've been trained by some of the best in the business. I've been trained by Harold Tedford. I've been trained by Donald Wolfe. I've been trained by James Dotting, Peter Layton, Peter Craze, Peter Kinvin. I've been trained by every Peter in the business. And yet, I could not get a job after this movie came out because everybody wanted me to be that character. Now, maybe I should be patting Angus and Phil on the back for writing such a distinctive character. You know, that's very nice. I'm sure William Shatner would have something to say about that, you know. All I'm saying is that once people see you as a white man who thinks he's black, they'll never see you as anything else. You know, once you go white/black, you never go back. You know what I'm saying?
After Jimmy, you know, it was, I'll be straight, it was a little dark for a little while. It was like, I got into some, you know, horror stuff, like Return of Jimmy, you know, real B-rate kind of stuff. And it was like, you know, I knew that I was kind of, I was like, they were real intimidated, like I was the talent, and they were just, you know, they paid me a lot of money, and it was kind of weird. But, you know, after that, then there was like some porn, and, you know, whatever. It's, you know, it was kind of weird for a while.
After you wrote the movie, then did other things happen?
No, nothing's happened.
Bride of Jimmy. There was Bride of Jimmy. Jimmy released the Kraken of Jimmy. Something like that. I don't know. It was like hazy.
I could not get a job. I would walk in and I would say, "Hi, I'm Lee Sellers," and they would be like, "You're the guy in that film." And I'm like, "Well, I'm sorry, what film?" And they'd be like, "You're the white guy who thinks he's black." And I'm like, "No, I played a white guy who thinks he's black." And they were like, no, you are the white guy. You did that. It's just written for you. And every role I went in for, they asked me to talk black.
Well, this is an interesting question, because after that I was never involved in anything performance. Before then I had done some amateur theatricals and a few experimental films for other friends of mine in Spain and Morocco. But I think it changed my life in a very serious way, but this is still in my unconscious. I'm still working to find out in what way this was.
You know, they'd be like, "Could you be more ethnic?" That was the, you know, watchword for, "Can you be more black?" And I'm like, I mean, I got friends or brothers who went through that shit, and they were like, "Oh, sure, can I be more street? Could you be more ethnic? Could you be more, you know, everyday, whatever?" And I'm like, fine, you know, I could do it. But, you know, I'm reading for, you know, Biff in Death of a Salesman. Biff is not black. And Biff doesn't think he's black. Biff has absolutely nothing to do with thinking that he's black at all. And so here I am, you know, so they're asking me to do these lines in a black accent, and of course I didn't get the job. Of course I didn't get the job. So I just stopped going in.
My real serious interest is in visual art. I am now working on something I think is very intriguing, of making papier-mâché bathroom fixtures, sinks. I'm working now on a commode.
Did I say? I went in, and a week later I was a star, my darling. I go everywhere, and everybody knows Tater Tomater. Everybody. The littlest people to the big. Everyone.
Oh, my career? well, it had no effect. I mean, I just went on working in the cafeteria, and then, well, later on, then I became a hostess at the restaurant I'm at now. And I mean, I guess if you want to talk about my career, my real career, it really had no effect at all. Now, if you want to talk about my life, well, yeah, it had an effect on my life, because I sort of looked at myself differently after that. I mean, that people would want to put me in a movie, I thought that was kind of exciting. And I thought, well, you know, maybe that meant I was kind of special or different from other people. And, you know, you always like to have something like that in your life to look back on. And now, are there commercials that you've done that we would know what they were, that we might recognize?
Probably. Yeah, but there's a lot of, yeah, you'd maybe recognize some of that work. A lot of the, you could ask Lee about some of the, no, you don't.
I just had to ask people, because I was really curious, if people ever came up to them and bothered them, like fans of the movie. I mean, it has such a cult status now, and I was just wondering if people pestered them or bothered them or asked them for their autograph.
Yes, people do, but it's not so much from Tater. It's not so much from Tater Tomater. We go to these conventions that with the work I do with Lee, and so I get bothered a lot for my autograph. But it's not really about Tater Tomater. It's just more from this other stuff.
That's probably because they don't recognize you from Tater Tomater because they didn't see you.
Right.
Well, now that you are mentioning it, I think possibly that, yes, this is explaining many things that I thought I was only being paranoid, I think, but possibly, yes. Yes, there was one who was really annoying me. I thought he was obsessed with me because of my art.
No one has ever bothered me. There was actually someone who went through my trash once, but I don't think it had anything to do with the movie.
So no one's ever come up and asked you for an autograph or anything?
Oh no. I've had people ask me for money, but that's just out on Broad Street.
Didn't he just say that Nathan and Matthew were out there waiting for me? Let them wait.
And you think they know you from Tater Tomater?
The movie is monumental, my dear. It is monumental, as well as being underground. You see, it's above and below. It's everywhere. So are my fans.
There was this one who was following me everywhere, and I had to hit him with a car.
Was there any repercussions from that?
Not for me.
People come up to me and they say, "You were in that movie about the tomatoes." And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "You were in that movie about the tomatoes and the girl in the red Ford Fairlane." And, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" This was years ago. And I'm like, "I'm Jack Hammer. I make porno movies. I am not a white guy who thinks he's black."
Fans? Oh, well, no, I mean, not on the street. They don't really bother me on the street. But now that I have the website, I mean, they do email me constantly. I mean, all the time. They email me not just with orders, with funny stories and funny pictures and from all over. I mean, they want to tell me how they heard about it and who told them about it and who they watched it with and on a beach trip or whatever. And so, I mean, the fans do tell me these things, but not so much in person. They don't really come up to me on the street or bother me, or no one's ever asked me for my autograph or anything.
Oh, fans are never a bother, darling. But of course they have come up to me and asked for my autograph. As a matter of fact, 2 devoted fans presented me with a hat just earlier this year, a darling little baseball hat that says Tater Tomater. I wear it all the time.
You wonder sometimes, I mean, isn't that what People magazine is all about? Like, what do stars think about other stars? And, I just wondered sort of what the interaction was between all the people in the cast. So I wanted to ask them, what did they think or remember about their fellow actors? Well, the other actors were really, really nice to me. I mean, especially since I had no experience at all, and I would think that they would just treat me as just a piece of dirt because, I mean, a lot of them had a lot of experience, and they really came from great theatrical backgrounds, and so I'm sure they just thought of me as just like an employee at the cafeteria. I'm sure they didn't want to have anything to do with me, but most of them really were so nice.